Hi, my name is Emmanuel Muñoz. I'm a project designer at LGA Architecture. Well, I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, and I moved to Vegas with my family when I was about 2 years old, and this has been my home ever since. In college, I started at CSN, and then I transferred to UNLV for architecture school, where I also took up an art history minor. Ever since I can remember, architecture was something that I was interested in. There wasn't a moment of realization that I wanted to be an architect. It's just something that I've been interested in since I was a young kid. It was really learning about the famous architects that came before that I began to be interested in the possibility of pursuing it as a career, and kind of seeing the famous buildings and visiting them when I traveled with my family or with my friends. I would say the Eames House is something that is one of the buildings that made me really interested in pursuing architecture. Summer of 2019, I got the chance to visit Boston and New York for the first time. And of course, I went to all the big museums and galleries, and it just became enthralled by the world of art. And I found that it related pretty closely to my passions in architecture. And so that was an interesting way of combining my interests into one. So I had first learned about LGA during a firm crawl that the School of Architecture did. We visited their office and got to learn a little bit about what they did. At the time, I was still very early on in my architecture education, and I really liked the approach that they had for architecture. It's a fairly small team, so I get to kind of interact with everyone there. It's very collaborative, which is something that I really appreciate. And I'm a generally curious person. I like to ask questions, and I find that any question that I have, usually anyone is open to answering. And just the projects too, they're an architecture that is interested in communities and people, and that's something that I value myself as well. I'm part of an art collective and art gallery here in town. We put on art exhibitions and events for the community, and so it seems right at home for me to be working at LGA because they carry that same ethos with the clients that they work with, the projects, and even the designs that we create are centered around the communities that they serve. I think something that I add to LGA is my love and appreciation for Las Vegas. When you think of Las Vegas, you don't necessarily think of great architecture, but I think if we kind of look a little deeper, we do find that there's a lot of really interesting and good architecture in Las Vegas. My house is actually the corner one right over there. There's a mural that I painted many years ago, and it's still there, which is surprising. Really digging into the city and putting your roots down is something that I value as a resident of the city.